Hello everyone, welcome back. It's time for another and now for something horrible. Please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. Share if you want. There's always people that are interested in weird bugs, even if they just like it to be disgusted. So today I wanted to talk about screwworms, or human myiasis if you aren't familiar with any of these terms. Myiasis is the infestation of flesh with flies. So this here is a screwworm. This belongs to the Caliphorid family. These are the blue bottle, green bottle flies, the blowflies, the carrion flies. These are the kinds of flies that you see flying around, carrion and corpses, roadkill. They're usually this sort of metallic green or metallic blue color. They tend to be fairly large, the size of a housefly or larger. I won't go into all of their diagnostic characteristics because that's kind of boring, but this that you're seeing here is Cochleomia hominivorax, is the New World, New World screwworm. So this is a native for North and South America. And what differentiates this fly from other caliphorids is that this screwworm primarily feeds on living flesh, not dead flesh. So it's pretty horrifying. And its scientific name, its specific epithet, hominivorax, literally means man-eater. Because not only does it infect wild animals, it will also infect humans. So its host range tends to be warm-blooded things. So humans, quite a bit of wild birds. Historically, the big problem was the infestation of cattle, sheep, goats, horses, any sort of livestock, warm-blooded livestock, because there tends to be a lot of open wounds on those animals. And the larvae of this fly cause myiasis, which is this infestation of flesh with flies. And this is not a great quality picture, but this is what myiasis looks like. These are maggots within an open wound. This in particular is not, these maggots are not screwworms, but this is a gory picture of what it looks like to be infested with maggots. And this is what the screwworm actually looks like in its larval state. So how this life cycle works is the adult finds a wound on a warm-blooded animal. It doesn't make its own wounds; it finds a wound. This with like the livestock, this is usually from either the birthing process. So like the umbilical cord on an animal will be an open wound after birth. Or the adult female will be wounded in either the vagina or the anus, or it can also be shortly after birth, like if you're dehorning cattle or you're branding new cattle, or some animals have their tails cut off, things like that, where there's an open wound. The adults will find the wound and lay eggs on the wound, eggs on the wound. In humans, frequently this will take place around the nose or the eyes or the face. Like if you're a man and you've shaved and you have like small wounds on your face, it can be inside your ears. There's also records of this occurring in humans on the scalp. Like if you've, it doesn't even have to be a big wound. So like if you've brushed your hair too hard and you get little cuts on your scalp, the flies will lay eggs on your scalp. It also occurs in humans around the belly button and the anus. And it's really, really horrible. So out of the eggs comes this larva, and it begins immediately to burrow into the wound. So the reason these are called screwworms is because, like a screw, it is covered in these circles of spines, kind of like the winding of a screw. And these spines are very firm, and they face backwards. So let me get a better color on this. This is yellow, so let's do like a purple. Oop. So these spines are all over the rings these rings of spines all over the segments of the maggot. These spines all face backwards, and the reason is because it dives in head first. So then if you try to pull it out, the spines catch on your flesh. So you can't get this out. And it's not just one maggot in the wound. An adult female can lay up to 400 eggs on a wound. So frequently, there'll be dozens and dozens of these maggots that begin burrowing into the flesh in order to eat the living flesh and the living muscle. So this will go on for a week or two. And eventually they will then crawl back out of your skin and out of your muscle to fall to the ground and pupate. It pupates, and then you get more adults coming out of the soil. Luckily, this species no longer exists in North America. So it isn't native to North America, but we have eradicated them all the way down to Panama. And this has been done through a process called sterile insect technique, in which fly eggs and fly larvae are battered with chemicals and radiation in order to sterilize them, and then they're released into nature because the adult only mates once, so they mate one time. And so they end up mating with sterile males. The females mate with sterile males, and then they can't lay any eggs because they're sterile. So through this process of sterile insect technique, it's been wiped out of North America all the way, and this is basically the only area of North America where it still exists, other than a few spots in the Caribbean. This is the Darien Gap, and it is a space, an uninhabitable space between Panama and Colombia, where there is I don't know if it's in Panama City or where it's at exactly, but there is a lab here in Panama that all they do is raise these sterile flies and then dump them into the Darien Gap in order to prevent the spread of the flies out of South America into North America. So they also do this whenever there's an outbreak in North America. They'll send more flies. So in 2016, when I was living in the Caribbean, there was an outbreak of these flies in the Florida Keys that I briefly worked on. And we got a couple of the people from Panama to come up, and they ended up training in my lab for a while. But it was wiped out from the Keys, but there was a lot of infested deer. This myiasis occurred in a lot of deer, a lot of wild birds. I believe there were a few people's dogs that were infested, but I don't think there were any human infections which occurred, luckily. In 2017, I believe the Keys were declared once again free of the fly. And then this lab also sends things, I believe, to Haiti. Haiti has an ongoing infestation that they can't really get rid of because they don't really have the resources. But other than that, this fly is solely now in South America. If you want to see videos of the horrors that it caused, there's plenty of videos on YouTube that you can watch. I would warn you, it's extremely gory, so you don't necessarily want to go watching those. So thanks so much for your time. Have a good day. I'll see you guys later.